Welcome to this CueCam Presenter special event. Today I've got 3 announcements for you that I think you're going to love. But first, we're talking about CueCam Presenter. What is that? What does it do for you? Well, first, it's perfect for sharing not just media, like pictures and images, or your screen, but your ideas too, thanks to being able to draw with your iPad at a moment's notice. It's perfect for storytelling with teleprompter first smart scripts. And it's easy to use. You can share your screen with picture-in-picture, use a green screen, zoom in, draw on your video, and a whole lot more, all without setting up a single OBS scene. Because I've collected the best things I've seen over a decade of live streaming and video conferencing and made it easy enough for anybody to do. Don't take my word for it. I asked some of my users to tell me their favourite CueCam feature. Here's what they said.
My name is Jim Banks. I run a digital marketing agency and I'm also a podcast host. Before I discovered CueCam Presenter, it was incredibly difficult to stay on track when recording a podcast episode or conducting a training session with clients. CueCam Presenter has made it incredibly easy for me to set up a run of show or a meeting agenda. I even used CueCam Presenter's teleprompter to make this video. Now I know what to say and I'm confident I'm going to stay on point and not go off on a tangent. So a big thank you to the CueCam Presenter team for creating this fantastic software.
Hi, I'm John Edelson, Professor Emeritus at California State University, Monterey Bay. And my go-to program for either my live classes or my Zoom classes is CueCam Presenter. I don't know how I was an academic teacher before that. It makes all the power of the creations that I do in the Apple ecosystem at my fingertips in a presentation where I could concentrate on engagement within students and not engagement with my computer.
Hi, I'm Max J. Miller. I'm a ghostwriter and a memoirist, and I love CueCam. I found CueCam by searching for the ability to write immediately on my screen, making notes, like right on my screen like that. I thought, when I saw somebody do that, I thought it looked so much more personal than bringing, slides in and out and the PowerPoint thing. I just think it makes it very immediate and fun.
I've been involved in the production and publishing of live videos for years, whether it be for a manufacturer, educational environment, sports teams, or the Rotary Club of San Jose. Using CueCam, shoot, and video pencil together beats everything hands down for me.
Well, that's 4 amazing little testimonials for me, and one more from Dan, which I trimmed down a little bit. I asked like, what was one thing that you like about CueCam, and this was his answer.
What is the one that I like? Well, it could be Zoom. Yeah, I like using, I love my Stream Deck. I love the controls over the camera. There's a countdown timer. Oh, it's a little aside feature. You guys got to check the aside feature out. You can play music. What else do we have? Oh my God, we got great pricing. We got audio video sync. We got a ton of stuff. It's going to fill the screen up, and I'm not going to be able to tell you about more. That much more. Well, here's what I really like about CueCam Presenter. This guy. Well, there have only been 2 or 3 instances when I really need Michael's help for fixing something, and he is always there. And he's always there with that smile on his face, and he's always there when I need it. He'll always be there when you need him. And I'll tell you what, this is to me the key feature of CueCam Presenter is the fact that there is service, it's with a smile, and it's really, really knowledgeable.
Wow. I don't know about service with a smile. I feel like when I hear about technical problems people are having, my smile is sort of like, oh, I'd love to help you, but hey, Thanks. So thank you everyone for sending those in. I really appreciate you taking a minute out to talk about the thing I'm doing. So I haven't just been asking people what they like about CueCam. I've also been asking what you don't like, right? Or why you like CueCam but you don't use it, right? And I kept hearing 3 main things, 3 main problems, 3 main announcements for today. So we've got some problems, we've got some announcements. So here is the first problem that I kept hearing. I don't have time to learn it. Right? I heard this from a few people. People think they don't have time, but I think you shouldn't need time. It's a design problem. The design of CueCam was still too complicated. So let me start with some excuses. I've been coming at CueCam Presenter from the perspective of an OBS and Ecamm Live user. In those apps, you can have multiple cameras, screen shares, titles and videos all at once, and it's complicated to set up and encourages you to kind of like overload your scenes. If you've ever seen like live streams where they've got like 67 different boxes. But conversely, if you want to use a sequence of scenes to tell a story, it's almost impossible. They basically just make it easy to show loads of things at the same time and maybe switch to a different thing. But I think it's, the storytelling part has always fallen short for me. I've also come at this as a Keynote user. So Keynote is made for storytelling, but it's not particularly webcam friendly. Sure, you can show a live camera and then pump everything over to Zoom via a screen share if you have permissions, but then you have audio sync problems and it's still going to fall short if you actually want to like draw on something or switch to a different screen share. And I think it also encourages you to put way too much on your slides when a good webcam presentation is much better with a teleprompter, with on-screen text being used as sparingly as possible. So I've been looking at these applications and deciding which of their features I need to add to CueCam, but more importantly, how many of them I don't need to add to CueCam. So I've been marshalling complexity. I've been coming from something very complex and trying to distill it into its essence that kind of like will make it easy for you to use and easy to get started with and not have to buy a training course. And I think I've done okay so far, but if people were still intimidated, then my work was not complete, was it? So for the last few months, I've been reworking CueCam's user interface, and today I'm announcing a brand new version, CueCam 3.0. So let's talk about first what's gone. The dashboard has gone, right? I've removed the dashboard. Well, I've sort of taken what it did and put all of that stuff where it belongs. So initially, when you're sort of thinking about scenes, you're like, oh, well, we're going to need an arbitrary number of audio interfaces. And I invented the concept of a main. I was like, this is a clever way. So instead of being able to add as many cameras as you like, let's just have a main camera and then share a second camera, and I won't let you layer up a million cameras or like throw in a load of live camera feeds and do all that stuff. We'll just have a main camera, right? And then we've got a share. Okay, yeah, really convenient, like a share button right there. And you just have to know to like click there and you can do loads of stuff. And then we have this slide one. That behaves differently depending on context. These are all the same size. This takes up a lot of space. And this aside 3D button, I just had to people weren't pressing it, and then the video settings were kind of living awkwardly down there as well. So the dashboard, I just decided, let's put everything where it belongs. So now instead of the dashboard, we've got, it just looks like a Zoom window. You almost don't need to explain it. Main camera, it's just the camera, right? Why am I saying main camera? So now you've just got your camera button, you've got your microphone button, and then additional inputs. If you did have an advanced case, you just have a couple of inputs there. If you're playing a video, the audio for that just appears there, right? And so it's all just sort of along that bottom bar, feels a lot more natural. It sort of opens up this space, declutters everything, and I just think it's a much better solution. And it also lets the main thing that you're going to be using, the share bar, be nice and big. So, this is something Zoom certainly doesn't have, the share bar. So this lets you share anything instantly, like friction-free. So if you're sharing your screen, you can bring it in and out of Aside 3D just with the with the space bar I'm just pressing. So it comes up. So now when you press here, when you press here and you've got something to share, you're sharing something. It just comes in and out. And then you press there's a little X to kind of get rid of it if you want to get rid of it. But then it will remember what you last shared. So if I just usually want to share my screen, the share bar just remembers that, and then next time I hit space, it's going to bring back the screen share, Aside 3D. So it's just a really natural way of working, I think, compared to having to know to sort of open up the dashboard and it's the second button down, and this you never need to change, this you're always pressing, this is weird, none of that anymore. It's just, this is your share bar and that is the main event. So that's the share bar and the end of the dashboard. What else has gone? The big pink button. The big pink button has gone. Right, this is the big pink button. And this was, it's mostly gone. It's still in the teleprompter for whatever reason. But I just realized it didn't need to exist. The only reason it existed was because I was still showing the editor whilst you were presenting, which again, like this was from, you know, I was thinking more of a like OBS eCam kind of way of thinking, but actually, like when you press play on a keynote presentation, you enter a special presentation mode. You can click anywhere to advance. You can use the keyboard and other ways of navigating, a clicker, which I should probably support. You don't need a big pink button when the whole window is the button, right? So now when you press play on a card, CueCam enters a brand new presentation mode where you can see everything you want to see. So you can see your preview of what's going on. You can see the current card you're showing. You can see, okay, that's number 32 of whatever. You can see the next card. You can sort of navigate, and you can press left and right on the keyboard. That's actually kind of, I almost prefer that to navigating on the Stream Deck now. Like I have the Stream Deck button, but it makes this kind of clunk, which the keyboard doesn't make. So I just love like just using the right arrow key now to go to my next slide. And so this is now just showing you just what you need to see when you're presenting, and not like, you can edit the current card, but it's not like showing you your whole deck as well and having to kind of create a massive button just to get your attention in the face of all that other stuff. I've also, you know, as part of this, I've refined CueCam's editor to feel a bit more sort of natural as well. So now instead of like in the old one, right here was a sort of plus button, and that had sort of everything hidden behind it. But now I've sort of broken them up into this top toolbar. So what you've got is you've got your sort of share and record buttons there. You've got your, well, you've got like the share stuff here, but really you've got all these different toolbar buttons, so you can see text you want to share, images, and now like that image drop down will have generate image, so the AI image generation is sort of like in the right place. Videos are there, it has lots of special things you can do, screen shares, share a website, all lives under there, share a second camera, and then sort of like there's some advanced stuff under here, which you can access by this menu, still quicker than the old way. But now, because you can right click on that toolbar and customize it, you can drag menu items, the ones that you use all the time. So if you're an eCam Live user, you want to just see your scenes all the time, you can just like drag that button for eCam Live up in there, and you've got instant access to all of your eCam Live stuff. So that's, this to me is all feeling a lot more natural, and I'm hoping that it's not going to feel quite so intimidating, because you can take what, if you've used Keynote before, you can use CueCam, I reckon now. And if you've used Zoom, you can use, so if you've used Keynote, you know how to present with CueCam. If you've used Zoom, you know how to like share with CueCam. And it's just like, hopefully just a much better experience. So that's the presentation mode, a redesigned editor, and the end of the big pink button. What else is new? Well, we've got this brand new slide design. So there's a new default design for all slides called Clean. Right, the old style has been renamed to Expert. And why is that an Expert? Because in the old style, it would just put the text sort of in your video feed. But that kind of required you to kind of like know a little bit and just make sure you kept some space, or like didn't have books behind you, or didn't like have, you know, do it on the top of a screen share where there's text clashing with text. So I realized that like that was really an expert mode, and I needed a way that would work under any circumstances. So I looked at a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of show reels, graphics packs, like title transition, you know, like here's 300 slide transitions that you can get, or TV, like, you know, those kind of TV graphic packs that you can get. I looked at loads and loads of them, and then just to try and see if I could spot something that I thought would work generally for this situation. And I came up with this, the Clean style. Right, and as you see, it just slid off, and I came back in the center. And I love this because it means we can crop the video. So when this comes out to the side now, it still keeps me perfectly framed. So I can sort of come out, I stay in the middle. I come in, I kind of like take up a bit less space, and we can make that wider and narrower. It's always going to fit the content, and you're always going to look good, and you don't have to sort of like, because in the old one you'd have to sort of like move to the side if the text was going to be on the side and stuff like that. I've also made it easy to, like, you know, change colors of things, and another side effect of this was the introduction of the blank board. So this is something you can actually just get at any moment. So if you just want to draw something with Video Pencil, you can just like immediately conjure up this blank board and just sort of get to kind of like drawing something cool, like this little dolphin. Let's give him a little smiley face. So that's just you know, like it feels like the right thing, and I'm really happy with how that looks. And yeah, I can't wait to see what you do with it. So that's CueCam 3.0. What was the next problem that I kept hearing about? Well, even though I know some people are more than happy with the price, right? They tend to be expert users. So, but like, to quote some customer feedback, seems expensive for a noob, right? And I think that's fair enough. Well, if you just want to use your iPhone as a camera and draw on it with your iPad, or just quickly share something without having to take over the whole Zoom call, you probably don't need green screen support and camera LUTs and multiple audio inputs. You just need the basics, right? So today I'm introducing a new plan that lets you do just that. And it's a new price tier, $4.99 a month, CueCam Essentials. And basically, what does that give you? That gives you all the stuff. It connects to your iPad. It does all the same stuff automatically. You can share anything watermark free, right? You can share your screen, camera, desk, you know, like images, pictures, all that kind of stuff. That all works, right? You can use your iPhone as a teleprompter and a camera. You can remote control your iPhone camera. You can record videos, and it unlocks the core features of the iPhone and iPad app, right? It takes the watermark off Video Pencil for you know, and it takes the watermark off Shoot, and gives you all the basics that you might want to use. And so just for comparison, here's what you don't get in the Essentials plan is all this other stuff. So you don't get the teleprompter window, you don't get the delay calculator, you don't get, well, I might put the delay calculator in, I haven't decided. You don't get the Stream Deck plugin or the green screen stuff or the camera LUTs or multiple audio inputs, or like you can't control eCam Live and OBS, you can't control other apps with keystrokes. So this is all the stuff that you can only do in Suite. So anyone that has currently got CueCam, you have all this stuff. But it just means people that don't need all this stuff or necessarily want all this stuff, or don't want to start with all this stuff, don't have to, right? And then of course, like as soon as you use it for a little bit, I imagine that you are going to be, you are probably going to be like realizing you want one or two of these things, but like you don't have to start off that way. But and that $9.99, like I think it seems like I don't know. Technically, it's still a special offer, a launch price. You know, like while there's still not ironed out every single problem with CueCam, so I'm still like kind of being a bit cautious about the pricing, but feels like that's a comfortable price for a lot of people. So you know, but I do have like a limited number of them, so just remember that as well. So there's a new price plan, but it's still a subscription, right? Like another subscription in this rental economy that's just consuming us all with endless like monthly payments, and we don't own anything anymore, right? And I agree, like we have too many subscriptions, and so this is why I do offer lifetime pricing in Shoot and Video Pencil. So why haven't I done that in CueCam? Well, one reason was that I felt like while some people can afford an upfront payment of like $100 or something, many of us are like living month to month, and a big one-off payment wouldn't really be possible. And so at least with a subscription, I could make CueCam, Video Pencil, Shoot available to people when they just needed it for a bit. So I didn't have to like shell out a lot of money to access all this power if they just want to use it for a bit. And of course, like you've always been able to use it for free with a watermark. So there was nothing to stop you putting something together and then like, you know, the week before the presentation, like get the subscription, do it without the watermark, and then kind of like come back to it. So I always felt that was reasonable. But you know, I've also been thinking, what if we didn't have to choose between lifetime pricing and a subscription? What if you could have both? Well, that's why today I am announcing rent-to-own pricing. So CueCam's lifetime pricing is now available to everyone. Every subscription payment now gets you closer to owning CueCam outright. So that just means, yeah, you're at some point you will own CueCam and you won't have to pay anymore. And if you want to speed that up, you can I've made it so you can make down payments on that. And of course, there's lifetime pricing available. You don't need to do anything. Everybody's now on rent to own. So here's what that looks like. We've got, this is what the new website's looking like. So you can see this is rent to own pricing, Essentials, Suite. We can go to monthly, we can go to yearly, or we can go to lifetime pricing. And I guess, I mean, yeah, I won't show you all of the stuff, but yeah, so that's the new thing. That's what it's going to look like. That's the prices, so you can see what that looks like. So that's two new things, right? That's CueCam 3.0. It's new pricing. So what was the third problem that I was seeing, that I kept hearing about? Well, this third thing was more around motivation and confidence. I think some of you feel like you want to put yourself out there, but you find it difficult. Like finding time is difficult, procrastination is a problem, and technical barriers can be incredibly demotivating. And I think I'm uniquely placed to help with that as well. But that means I'm going to have to tell you a little bit about myself today, so I'm sort of opening up a little bit today. Because when it comes to public speaking, I am not a natural. Like you know, I promise you that you are far more of a natural at this than I am. When it comes to public speaking and self-confidence, you're more of a natural than I'll ever be. It's hard to explain why without talking about probably the defining moment of my life. I was five and a half years old when I lost my mother. Right, one day she was there, and then one bedtime, Mummy's gone to heaven, I heard, and you know, I've never known her as anything but Mummy, right? I'm told that before she died, we used to sing together all the time. Well, after that, I stopped singing. And in fact, I stopped talking. At school, I remember silently pointing at what I wanted to eat, like the same thing every lunchtime. One of the teachers would sort of come by and try and get me to talk by stealing a sausage. The head teacher would bring me to his office to play chess, but I wouldn't talk, not really. I'd gone into my shell, and I just didn't want to come out. But, you know, I couldn't get by like that forever, so I figured out ways to get through things without having to let anybody in, right? So when I was a bit older, I started making music on my computer. I'd be in the Amiga room at school or in the common room with a cassette tape. And this turned out to be a good way to get other people to approach me so that I didn't have to take any social risks. I joined my first band at 15 and that helped a lot. But, you know, at the end of the day, and you might be able to tell, like I'm not really a background kind of person. I never really wanted to just be the keyboard player. I wanted to be in charge. So I tended to lead from behind, and I thought I was elevating my bandmates, but really I was undermining them and just taking their vulnerability for granted. In 2001, we played a festival in Scotland. We were really good, but it was going to be the last show we'd ever play, and that was my fault. I'd made it impossible for the people I loved the most to work with me ever again. After we finished, I remember wandering into the pitch black, freezing woods and just like sobbing. Like my unlimited aspirations, like I wanted everything, had just been annihilated by my insurmountable fear of letting myself be vulnerable, right? Allowing anybody in. So how did I get from the child who wouldn't speak to the adult who never shuts up, right? It took some help. So 2 years later, 2 years after that show, like I'm in a bar, meeting up with some old university friends. And I'm talking about my solo music project, and they're telling me they're putting on a show in Kentish Town and did I want to play? And it just made my skin prickle, like, you know, my head's throbbing. I want to run away. But they've seen me play. They're willing to take a risk on me, right? They're willing to take a chance, so they keep pushing. And eventually I sort of like down the rest of my pint and I agree, and now I'm committed. It was because it was the only way to move forward. And you know, music here, I'm talking about music, but this is just one aspect of my life. A few years later, a few weeks later, right, I step onto that stage. I'd taken days off work to prepare, but still I practically had to be pushed up there, right? But you know, I've got my laptop, I've got some gadgets, I'm playing an electronic breakbeat version of As Time Goes By on the trumpet, and it goes really well, and I get my applause, and you know, now I'm ready for more. That was just the first step on that particular journey, and it took a lot more steps like that to get to the point where I am today. But that's how it works. A lot of little steps. I actually wrote a song about this, so I was going to say the lyrics, but I just thought I'd like show a little clip. It goes like this. Right, so that's how it goes. You figure out the next step, you commit, and then you build up the courage to take it. So I think what I want to do is, like, I guess, cajole you into making a commitment. I want to give you a safe place to turn up and take some little steps along with me, to help you along. So, you know, like, I know that was a lot, but I just want to sort of bring that back to, you know, what we're talking about. I'm talking about an app I've made. But my third announcement of the day is a new thing. You Can Present. What is it? It's basically every week I'm going to host a little kind of group thing on Zoom, webinar, call it, I don't know what to call it, for CueCam Presenter users. And basically I'll give you a little presentation exercise, and then I'll be there for technical and moral support, and we can all improve our confidence around sharing, presenting and storytelling. So if you're interested in that, go to cuecam.app/youcan and just we'll register. We've got to figure out when's going to be the best time to do it. So that is my announcements for today. CueCam 3.0, new pricing, and you can present a new thing. Now, this is where I was going to pull the trigger, put everything live, but I need to just retreat back into my little programming cave and just make sure the last things, but yeah, new versions of everything in the next couple of days, and that's what it's all about. So in the meantime, feel free to go to cuecam.app and have a look. So thank you so much for joining me today, and for everyone who took the time to record a video for me. I've been itching to get this release out of the door for months because I can't wait to show you, because I've got so much like next that I want to do. And so make sure you subscribe to all this stuff, mailing list, YouTube, get on the Discord so you don't miss out on what's happening next. Thank you, and good night. Bye.